Say about one babe koso. Eti John Dramani Mahama edinka akoshia journalist. Ana afin so Dr. Bawumia enso akoshia journalist. Eti Mahama de na akoshia journalist no. Ena kwadwose de nkura ba abonten be kan say journalist ekupie mu ho no. Na omu nyina no sika ena omu kwa akwaje because wo kwa before be wulom yatua woka sa no be kire ye. Ema nkofo omu kwa se omu NDC journalist bi ba abonten be didi na atem kura se entesa. Se ya ye ka say kwadwose de nkura kato so say MPP fon so timi yes the same thing on so kan. Ama Captain Smart aba abonten abedi nkomo. E de afa ho say a wo kire woni nkase mu say ono kura ne nkofo binom a omo media general ho no eco program ni bi e ma ye mo bi 200,000 se bibisa obeka mekpo amwati sansem wo kan ye na ye bo sansem we ma omuti wia meka asem bi de akire mo ha yiti the captain e kan ye wona e ka say
microphone is so now obi announce no mo refisa it was live on air mo efi akabe mo amon say no repeat
Munko table no ho. Okwa o do invitation be kire. Na wa sign it.
What do invitation ni kira? Na wa sign. Na wa 200 million. Me see me fear half work obi 200 million.
Le.
200 million. 20,000. Red ni bi. Omo sheda so ko yi sika no. First place omo yi first one. Ay Absa. Second bank here, I have Fidelity. Third bank, I have CBG. I am daring them to come and tell me I am lying. Sa silver land cruiser na ko yi sika fee CBG no. Yehu. Kana e ko yi sika from Fidelity Bank. E de buy no yehu. Absa de no so it was a saloon car. Toyota if I say CAMRY number say Camry yehui
Muji Captain Smart edidia ono ani peya san wa bonten a wo che woni nkase mu say NDC useless political party. Captain Smart ono ani pakuru ya.
We will never ever succeed. We will never ever get to the destination we all yearn for. And run na juna meti ase say NDC a useless grouping. NDC a useless grouping. NDC a useless grouping.
Tisa mujini di ene na toje mo ankasa masem. Anyway, yem twam ne yanku yenim. So mo kwaji school, so man kwaji school. Ensem aba Bawumia ntimi answer one of two questions bi. A o mo kire se o magu nanim ase. Ensem ahodo a enkofo a yetua o mo ka se the captain ka no. Ekobusa obi a yetua wo ka. Se kone kubusa president anase ex president asem. Na okogina ho okobusa question begu nanim ase. Asem ye to asum. Nipa na yetua ne ka no okogina ho e wo so obusa question a president na di beje no osanso busa question a president ni begu asesa na ombe so mo kire anyway yento aso now dey tie ni questions ahodo mebre wo hwa ibusa Dr. Bawumia a wo se ebi wo kura na wonte afi na emse wo bokwa ko hwim sa na wo kan nsem de na won se ye wo nyoma mienu na wo Ghana ye wo nkofo bi wo ho madwene mu nyina ye NPP ene wo nkofo bi wo ho madwene mu nyina ye NDC tin komo na ye dini yipa now at the end of the day no enipo omadwene mu nyina ye NPP eno enipo omadwene mu nyina ye NDC no se ukotena baabi na ukoka NPP asem ewo NDC platform so wa enyi ukotena baabi na ukoka NPP asem ewo NDC platform so wa enyi because your platform bi wo ho a wo se bibia wo kan bia koma nipa baako ene wo platform bi wo se bia kan bia wo se koma nipa baako ene wo platform bi wo so asem wo kan important too but at the end of the day no onka sen wie no wo di nipa koro a wo kan asem no wo di natem yemfa ne se me Ekuonaba na aka bibia fa me ho na o di aboa na kwahya na ho fi ho kankan o didi atem basabasa mimma metie program no ebi kwa na asem a wo kan so important o but mimma metie program because at the end of the day no me betie program ni wi a mebu ebesan afu ntinsem mebre ho a papa no enimu a metimi age atum in the sense say ebia omo ewo so omo so kama ne te no enso nka ema ne nte ne ba bi e be kama na te nso e de aboa na kwase na eta title into onkonko tie sansem ne kura Kevin Taylor betima make a lot of submissions set to abonte bia na ya asem ko ewo se aban no timi eye ho bibi but onwie no na aboa na kwase atwato Captain Smart bit ma kan sem be important e wo sa aban ni ti na oye hu bibi but onwie no na aboa na kwase atwato nti at the end of the day nipa na wo kan asem na che na e wo so di hu dwuma no onkonkotie kura na wakwaye because onwie no page na ebe aboa na kwase a nti sam kasa kire panyini bia mun kan asem no in a professional way nipa ne tie obe hu bibi ti komoni pa mi se mitimiti ati me kasa ema police fo timete ede na omote man kan aboa na kwase o beto mate tin komoni enso asem am kan bi kwa ye punch pa bet man yusu aboa kwase am hu fi na ba say hu tantan na mi nye saade bet me wie no ni pan bet message na am de bae iti e so mutimi rebrand wo ho how wo si presenting message to mpanyinfo na asem a wo kan panyin ni wo pese wo tie wo ebi kura wo nya time enkohwe all of the things wo ye wo about thing but wo about thing wo information media na a part of the political parties media na a part of nation building you know ye ka ho enti ensem ye de ba no politician ne pese wote ebia na obetima pick 1 or 2 bf no dey ABB important but oba betie a page no so no aboa na kwase na nko na gusu no onya time okura no aba betie enso ebia na okanya nsasem enti po adom wo kira won kan aboa na kwase no so e wo so wo kan sa asem no ma politician ne te no so ono so ntimi mbeka no olubwate the same thing applies to Mahama ABB okoye le town program yiwi anaso Mahama ko shishia journalist ehun nsem mebri NDC for this discuss MPP for discuss ensem wo kan ye important na ntwani because nkwase asem trend ni nyansasem kinkomoni eti de Bawumia eyeye eniye ma menkyere mo Bawumia hunu se nkwase asem trend esni nyansasem enti questions o mu bu se o ma adwene mu no mu nim se o mu busa de agu papa nani mu ase no anaso mu busa tere be wontimi nia no na o manya bi aka no ono so fa sa question no ano ono so de aton ne ho enti lo pa mu ko all the platforms o ma post to Bawumia ntima answer question Bawumia ni magu ase asem we wantima anyi ano no onyi sa asem na no wie no de ton ne ho onyi sa asem na no wie no na o de aton ne ho wati ate enti Bawumia nsem wo mu ko busa no e wo program na ase no at the end of the day do oyi anu kra na wanyi anu kra na wasan so de aton ne ho tin komoni yipa because nkwasi asem ne be trend as the nyansasem nti nkwasi akwahye amunim se mu busa na se kwahye amunim se ye nyansasem a obusa asofo papa ne ntimi nyi ano no obeyi ano in a professional way no osan de aton ne ho tin komoni yipa eti Bawumia di nkomo bi e wo program no so obe start no wo se nkofo so ye nipa bi otwa ntoro o kan se bi wa intiro kan
you know what and then I think Ekuonaba was talking about people calling me a liar, and then you go, you know, and that is very, I said to someone, well, at least I'm not called a murderer as my boss was called, or I'm not called a drug dealer, or even I'm not called government official one. You know, but why do these things arise? Fundamentally, I believe that Ghana can do exactly what is happening in the developed world, in the advanced countries. I believe it is possible for us to leapfrog technology. And for us to do this, we must have this mindset of possibilities. That's why I'm saying it is possible. We are always, you know, timid in trying to do things that are not even done in the advanced countries. We think because it's not been done in the advanced countries, we shouldn't even try. But we can leapfrog them in many areas.
Same way, Anna, Dr. Bawumia, Okaye, Obinya Simpi Jinaswon, because a platform, Ubia Ped Wobeka Vinano. And as some Wobeka a bit more trendy, and as some Wobeka a bit more conanim, and some Hunubako more. It is a Muslim and Trolli Amibiano, a sane tear, Ubian was her tone home. Into all share program namana. Time na wakas when you tron was sans what jabby Mahama or one corner and the Munuba trendy and was under tone home. Politicians not do mutrimono. So one yes sharp. Now your wife need to be biana befana tough and after pressure, a bit of pressure the amount. O can semono a sound to talk. Let the people say question be. That question, ɛna nkɔfo so wɔ guba Bawumia no mu ase because na nkɔfo bi akɔyɛ politics ne ade bi akɔdidi akyire ama ɔma wuwu wanka biribi amfa ho anaso ɔma anyɛ press conference anaso ɔma issue statement bi amfa ho nkɔfo share sa video we so de ogun ne ho anim ase but obuleti ni busa asem ni wiye no Bawumia de ton ne ho.
Africa has also fact-checked and confirmed that 8 people in the 2020 general elections. We haven't heard the president make a statement on it, of justice or anything for that matter. I'm not sure I've heard you make any statement on it as well. And I've spoken to a lot of analysts who say that if you had addressed this very early on in your campaign, maybe you'd have had a greater chance than you might have now. If you become, and that's a question I've had, I just want to find out from you what you make of this, and if you will address matter. And finally, would you agree with Ghanaians say that you should apologize for where we are at the moment, especially looking at promises that were made and the performance not matching to those promises? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So let's go through it. I think it's a question that 8 people died in the 2020 election, and the president, or me, we have not commented on it. I'm not quite sure whether the president has commented or not, but any time we lose a life in any circumstance, it doesn't have to be an election. I think it's really a very sad event when you talk about loss of life. For anybody, and so I think that it's very, very a sad occurrence if for people who died during the election, maybe out of conflict or something. So it is something that I hope the authorities, law enforcement authorities, have dealt with or are dealing with. I'm not quite familiar with the full current status of that particular situation, but the people who are responsible should be brought to book to deal with this issue. The issue also, the question was also that should I apologize for not being a good economic manager? It's very interesting, because when you look at the work that we have done, let me go through some of it. For the first time in our history, first time since independence, we have a national ID system. For the first time. For the first time in our history, championed national ID at birth for all children at birth, together with their birth certificates. Never happened in our history. For the first time in our history, with the Ghana card, you don't need a guarantor to get a student loan. First time in our history, Ghana has a comprehensive address system. We've struggled with this for 60 years. 60 years. It's only under our government, and with my initiative, that we have a comprehensive digital address system. For the first time in our history, you have 100% access to financial inclusion in Ghana. For the first time in our history. For the first time in our history, we have drones delivering medical supplies to 2,694 facilities and saving lives. 140,000 flights have been made so far to very remote parts of Ghana. Daily, they are going an average of about 100 flights a day from each of the 6 drone centers, saving lives. So many lives have been saved women in childbirth, needing blood, people who have been bitten by snakes. We get the reports that the drones are saving. And Ghana is the whole world's largest medical drone.
Eti free hono. Ana afiri journalist aka no. A Captain Smart is here more musical no. Start busa questions. Ba ku busa kuku board. Emma la you kran so frɛ sorry busa no 1 or 2 questions bi a ono so hu ni sɛ wo so busa. Yenkoti questions busa Bawumia na no yi wo de bae.
Former President Mahama on his campaign tour in Western North region claimed Cocoa Board is on the verge of collapse. Do you believe Cocoa Board has collapsed? And what is your plans for Cocoa Board?
Cocoa Board is on the verge of collapse. I'm not aware of that, but we'll look at that. I cannot comment on that. It's not. I don't know where the data is coming from.
My name is Nana Yokesi. I work with Peace FM. You have promised abolishing bed tax, e-levy, flat import duty, one-time tax amnesty, among others. If you really believe that that is what Ghana needs, why should we wait till you become the president and not implement it now?
Was that we wanted to do these tax reforms, import duty, flat tax, tax amnesty, and so on. But why don't I do it now? And why do I want to? I must have a manifesto. Otherwise, if I do everything now, if I could, what would I do when I come into office? I mean, how can you do everything now? Even President Mahama, former president, who was president, I'm only vice president, but he was president. Why didn't he do everything then? I mean, why is he coming back? He had full authority. I don't have full authority. The budget that has gone to Parliament, which has been passed, is not my budget. Is it my budget? It's not my budget. The budget goes in the name of the president. It doesn't go in the name of the vice president. But when you have to think about what new do you want to do, you come up with new ideas. And I've come up with new ideas, which I want to do when we come into office. Everyone who is running for office, whether you are Kamala Harris or you are Bawumia, you still have to think about what you have to do when you get into office. And this is why I'm presenting my new ideas as to what to do.
Before I proceed to ask my questions, I would like to emphatically state that these questions were not given to me by anyone here. They are from my head, so I'm going to ask. Now, Mr. Vice President, my name is Kojo Sheldon. I represent Kojo Sheldon Studios. The first one is about 322 pharmaceutical doctors on social media right now are planning on suing the health ministry about unpaid, allowances. Now, for someone that has highlighted in your manifesto that when voted into power, you are going to, improve or help improve the condition of services when it comes to conditions of service when it comes to our health people. For right now that you are the vice president, what can you do to help these pharmaceutical, doctors who are, contemplating on suing the Ministry of, Health? My second question borders.
No, Koyo. Don't do that to me.
Mr. No. See, the question is
one question.
Oh, boss.
One question.
So my question, the second question is about perception.
Don't do that.
Boss.
Don't do that.
Oh, bro.
Don't do that. I didn't allow
perception is very, very important.
I'll come back to you.
The pharmacists are my very good friends. But you're talking about 322 pharmaceutical doctors who are threatening to sue the Ministry of Health for their allowances. Again, I want to take this one up. This is the first time I'm hearing about this particular issue. I think it is Sheldon who raised it. I'm not aware of it, but I think it's an important issue that we should really resolve. So we'll talk to the Ministry of Health and Finance. Thank you very much.
So my question is coming from a group of students on scholarship abroad. They are concerned that the Scholarship Secretariat is not doing what it has to do for them. At page 27 of your manifesto, you speak about harmonizing public scholarships. And there's a purpose for it. You say the purpose is to give full visibility. Beyond the visibility, what will you do about this now and not later? There are some of them, for 20 months, they have not received their stipends. In a number of universities in the UK, in Warwick, Coventry, Nottingham, they are under threat of losing their studentship. In Birmingham, 11 of them have already been withdrawn and they are facing deportation. Will you inquire, particularly knowing about the Fourth Estate's investigations dubbed Scholarship Bonanza, about what appears to be a racketeering in that place? And will you forbid and prohibit politically exposed persons wealthy enough, known in society, from accessing these scholarships? Thank you.
I think the question is very well.
Samson talked about the scholarship students and all of that. And I think this is a very, very important issue. There's nothing more heart-wrenching than taking a student abroad and not being able to take care of them in those circumstances. And I think that I believe, and this is what we are saying, that one needs to, first of all, harmonize these databases so that you have full visibility and transparency. And also, we have undertaken in the manifesto to publish all the beneficiaries of all of these scholarships as they come, so that everybody knows who is getting the scholarships and so on. And again, I've been made very aware of this issue. It's not new, because students have and parents have gotten in touch with me about the awards and the scholarships and so on. So we're talking with the Ministry of Finance and the Scholarship Secretariat. I think they were able to make some payments to some of the UK students and so on. But we will follow up on that because it's very urgent. The first question had to do with NAPCO, the Nation Builders Corps, and the arrears that have been owed to NAPCO. I think that the program had about 100,000 people on it, and I think initially it was supposed to be a 3-year program, and then would be renewed and so on. But I think that so far, out of the 100,000 that were taken, 34,000 have exited into permanent jobs under NAPCO, and the others are still. But I think that the issue that Bella raises is the arrears and how we are going to deal with it. I've raised this issue because this is not really this is some information that has come to me already about the arrears in the NAPCO program, and I've raised this issue with the Minister for Finance and trying to persuade them to make these arrears payments. So we will follow that up on behalf of the NAPCO employees. The second issue had to do with providing better health care in the manifesto and the issue of cars and how these will affect local but we will leave it.
Afidie yanko journalist Captain Smart say ye che o musika no questions o mubusa ye yanko hwani nyina na fo adwenkyina bra me se Bawumia waye sharp ha questions onu no hu ni say na so wadwene mu hu ni say no na obemia share no wa share because wa kan kwa asem no ugina sa questions no ho e no de ton ne ho ti journalist questions o mubusa busa.
Let me hear from Salma. Salma, please go ahead. Please give the microphone to Salma.
Good evening, Your Excellency, and thanks for the opportunity. My name is Salma Ahmed of ICRA Radio. Your Excellency, having advocated for the creation of the Zongo Development Fund, how impactful has it been to the Zongo and the inner cities? Thank you.
Umar Sanda from City. Thank you so much. Good evening, Mr. Vice President. I have a message from your in-laws, the Fulani people. They say I should tell you that, and remind you rather, that they are still being discriminated against when it comes to obtaining national ID cards, the passport, and so on. So kindly work on the discrimination part for them. My question, your critics, mostly the NDC, they say that the economy has overused, so you run away to digitalization. What is your response to such a criticism? Thank you so much. Anybody from Savannah region?
State 2 failures of your current administration which you seek to correct, and how do you intend to do this differently should you become the president? Thank you.
Thank you. Central region.
It's very difficult to hear the MPP talking about the fight against corruption. I don't know whether that has been captured in the manifesto. If it has, can you throw a little light on it for us, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. You've been touted as one with integrity. And we know integrity is anchored on trust. On your campaign tour, you're making promises. In some instances, a renewal of those you've made in the past. Thankfully, you'll be reminded of you made in 2016 to relieve Ghanaians of the suffering. 7 years down the line, there is still suffering. This time around, excruciating hardship. You are appealing to Ghanaians to promote you to the higher office of the land. Respectfully, do you think you should be trusted with a mandate that you are, or you have what it takes to relieve Ghanaians of what they are going through? Thank you. Thank you, Andy. So basically the question is that between Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and former President Mahama, who should a Ghanaian voter trust? He would respond to it. Please give the microphone to Nana Okatechi Afrifa. Okay, it's with Evans. So let Evans come then. Okatechi will come then. Uncle Ebokwansa will come.
Okay. My name is Evans Benson. I work with Joy News. On page 29 of your manifesto, you promise to protect Ghanaian cultural values. My question to you is, as president, will you sign the promotion of Ghanaian sexual rights and family values bill?
Thank you. Okatechi, I think we've taken more than the 6 at this point. Uncle Ebokwansa, please let us hear from Okatechi if you then come to Uncle Ebokwansa.
Good evening, Your Excellency. As usual, I would like to ask my question in tree. Say how Janansi as would the Ajamo Pambo Tibebusan tree. Your Excellency, a year na me free a year as an Kregua and an important mo eba. na McCoy with Madame Fwa no see a morning show of a Kesman Kwame Apiakubi. You could do on a Niamana Elko Sunibi, Your Excellency. It is heart wrenching. Seminoka say, Tanos you Idaho. It's Tobre. Meet me at the middle of the tunnel is you Namananso. Domine Jesus Christo. That is how bad the destruction of our waters have become. Enra, we have to turn ourselves into citizen vigilantes to arrest some Chinese people and send them to the police station on this matter. Besides that, Achimota Forest, Yanyan TSA, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources said, year in, year out, a certain Owu family, Aya GHS free on 1927, Yanchia Omoka, enti omo DB Koma Owu family no. Your Excellency, wait there, and your question. A chopper. Achimota Forest, here the Owu family bika, a binding Chia Owu family nika. Na forest no and na ho. Nemo ye show your forest. Said ye see say no in our quest to benefit from the natural resource of this country. I don't think we can continue like that as a nation. At the end na wo obeye sebeya ye sure ya say no abedri ye bet me reclaim me. Na ye bet me body that one obai amada chinchima. Thank you.
Please let's take Uncle Mbokwansa so we can, because I think that we've taken almost 9 or so questions. Asking for votes, I know, is that's fair, right? Okay, Eben.
All right, thank you very much. So my name is Eben. I work with YFM Ghana. I came all the way from Kumasi, actually.
You're welcome.
And YFM Ghana has always been one of Ghana's biggest when you talk about media, especially with relations to the youth.
Let's go to the question.
Now, the question is, I work in the creative arts industry. Most of the times, we get to see our celebrities or people in that industry only when it gets to elections. That's when politicians want to use them, because they do know that they carry certain power and they can actually help communicate. Now, my challenge is that, what do we have for the creative arts industry? So many things have been said. One of the things that they often look at is tourism, year of return, beyond the return, which everybody can attest to the fact that it's been successful. Now, what are we doing with our movies? What are we doing with our music, our internet? Because today, we can change the narrative and perception about Ghana with movies. But unfortunately, our movie industry is kind of on a decline. When you talk about actors and actresses, we get to hear of them when they're on their sick beds. There's nothing for them. Any kind of pension scheme, any kind of thing for them. What do we have for the creative arts industry? Since we hold a huge power to actually change the narratives of this country, and the creative arts industry also gets to employ thousands of people.
Then Ekuonaba will come, and then we are done.
I have the floor.
Yes, Paul.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mr. Vice President and colleague journalists. I think we're having a very interesting time. Mr. Vice President, I covered the NPP presidential primaries in 1998. I covered election 2000. I covered the NDC contest for election 2004, the one between Mills and Kwesi Botwe. I covered election 2004, 2008, 12, 16, 20. I have never seen a presidential candidate, whether in opposition or in government, focusing his campaign to the people about policy initiatives and policies that have been achieved. I also covered the UK election in 2001 for Tony Blair, and I covered also the UK election in 2019. You will find in those places that they were always articulating policy, what can be done, what can be solved. You will find here in all of those historical elections that we were not doing that until Mahamudu Bawumia arrived on the scene. Mr. Vice President, whatever happens in December, you have changed the politics of Ghana and Africa for a long time to come. I have nothing more useful to add except that God bless you. God bless you.
God bless you too. Ekuonaba, please take the microphone to Upper East, Natalie Ford, and then Kasapa.
Thank God that finally grace located me for me to be called. Good evening, Your Excellency, and thanks for the opportunity. I go back to the manifesto. Improved, you propose a number of new tax regimes. You talked about Ghana's ports being competitive to that of Togo. We know Togo is mainly duty-free. Is Ghana ports going to be duty-free? And if you do that, coupled with the number of taxes and levies you intend to abolish, then there will be shortfall in revenue, which we know that the budget we draw year by year is highly dependent on loans and donor support. So if there are shortfalls in revenue, how are you going to make up, and how will you fund all these lofty promises? Thank you.
Thank you, Yakurama. Upper East, please, and then Bruno. Please, Upper East, go ahead. Straight to the question, please.
Good evening, Vice President. In 2019, you accompanied the President to Taunting, widely known as Policy District, to consult for the construction of the Colgo multipurpose dam. Years down the line, nothing has happened. I mean, nothing substantial has happened. What has been done is that 11.9 million US dollars have been paid for some. For some, it is no work done. Now, I want to ask your understanding of what that money was used for, and if you think it is prudent use of the taxpayers' money. You've also said that you're going to ensure that it is constructed. We know in 2019, when the sword was cut, it was estimated to cost nearly 1 billion US dollars.
This is your question.
Nearly 1 billion US dollars. Now it is 2024. It's not going to cost same. We know things have changed. What is the estimated cost now? And the last one.
No, you have only one question. Please give to Natalie Ford.
Yenua bema eyepo adom ochire de woso no de obeda papa na se wabo adwuma pa de oba so obeka no abusuafo obetima beka Ekuonaba family ne ho, that is membership program ayeye ewo YouTube channel no so na registration ube register and so be part of it mechire how abesi obe register no na ade nti na woso obeka ho bi ube part of Ekuonaba membership program no ewo YouTube a mewo videos ahodo bi wo ho a meye apostu a members ne nko an be nya ahwe ebedu time bi metimi ne members no aye podcast live videos with members ne nko a ene ye 1 and number 2 ye wo inyanka awisia ne akunafo bi a aya me Ekuonaba ne me nkofo bi a omabeka me ho yetimi kɔ Ghana ekoye omo adoye nti so be part of Ekuonaba membership program bi ewo YouTube ha ubetimi so sponsor anasa abeka sa adwumadi ho nti ubeka YouTube membership program ya meka ho asemi ho a sika obedonate ewo YouTube membership program no so no a YouTube for ebeti ede afi wo account mu no se obi etimi frɛ Ekuonaba so okoye research mamia se sika na bi ene etimi ede ma nkofo wo Ghana ti om ho ka because metua tax ema sa nkofo no ekokoye sa adwumadi no research no ede boa nkofo a omonso part of Ekuonaba membership program yi ho nti ubetimi abe part of Ekuonaba membership program yi ewo YouTube ha na ho akwankyere eni ubetimi akọ video bia Ekuonaba ma post wo so no amia join no so umia join so a ebebi another page bi e de amount ho na be fill in with details uwia na afi no wa apply no abeka Ekuonaba membership program yi ho ewo YouTube ha me da se wate ase bibi ni ekire wo so na wonte ase a ubetimi leave comment ewo me video bi ase me kire mu so e de akire.
Hello ebusiafo, so wo pesi fita asra kire odofo de and then nafa ho kodom unique laser whitening. Unique laser whitening. Our toothpaste to strong kwa. What did you choose? Say, and ma was saying eye fita. Na eye fita non so no. Na ye and carbonate beer and wo no mu beer. Any tea stain, coffee stain, smoking stain si beer. Unique laser whitening product. Ebe yini nyina free swama or kama. The other say utu so. Na wo de beer go or brush it so. Now the chuchu sinisu nyina kama. Uvia and who wenum jano wenum sa into for unique laser whitening. I was 079-9979-2330. Unique laser whitening. or say, Muni